Welcome to Tumeric and Tequila with your host, Kristen Olson. Questioning a better way, one gracefully disruptive conversation at a time.
Welcome to Turmeric and Tequila. I'm so excited to be here today. We have a guest that had come on years ago and is back, the Fred Moskowitz. He is an all things, all-knowing financial varsity human, fellow CrossFitter. He's got a book out, The Little Green Note, that talks about note investing and really digs into it. Today, we are going to talk about the mindset around money. So before we even get to like the details of finances, investing, and all the things that go with it, we're just going to jump in with the mindset of money, and then, managing time and efficiency, which is another piece of it. But we'll cover a lot of different angles around being financially literate, investing, and all things money. But without further ado, Fred, welcome to Tumeric and Tequila. Welcome back to Tumeric and Tequila.
Thank you. It's great to be back.
Yes. All right, I'm going to read your bio just so people understand exactly what it is you do, and then we'll dive right in because I love your angle on money and the mindset around it and how there's some creative strategies that some of us that are looking to be investors can jump into. So Fred is an educator and best-selling author who has trained countless investors from all walks of life on how to create passive income streams of their own. As a fund manager, Fred manages a mortgage note investment fund and is considered an industry veteran within the note investing arena. Fred teaches the concept that individual investors are able to step into the shoes of the lender through note investing and effectively be the bank. So we'll unpack that. But Fred, before we even jump into that, give us a little background on what you've done different, or what's new, what's happened since we've had you on the mic last.
Yeah, thank you. It's been wonderful. Really have enjoyed watching you and your program, your show, just experiencing so much positive growth, positive change, and wanted to really take a moment and commend you with that because it's fabulous. The thing I'm noticing over the past few years is a lot of fear and confusion about money that people have. I speak with investors all the time, younger people, more seasoned people as well. There's always a lot of fear and uncertainty that seems to come up, and it's like anything else in life. There's always change. It happens around us, whether we like it or not. And what I found is the best thing that we can do is watch what's happening and come up with a plan, with a strategy. What can we do to best position ourselves, our personal economy? If we have a business, how can we position our business to be in the best spot, to be solid and ready to handle any changes, any surprises that come up?
Yes, as they do. Well, first of all, thank you for the kind words. I really appreciate it. We've both been able to keep tabs on each other's entrepreneurial journeys thanks to social media and see things grow. But it's always great to see my fellow hustlers out here using their voice and doing their thing. So I share the good words and the good stage with you. And yes, coming off COVID and all these different industry changes, the airline industry up and down. And there's just been a lot in the past few years. So people are gripping their budget even tighter. And then we've got inflation and, all kinds of stuff going all over the world. So I'm particularly excited today to talk about managing that mindset around money.
Yeah, for sure. It's such an important topic. I feel it doesn't get enough attention, right? Is how to build a solid mindset in life in general, and specifically we can talk about money, but a lot of it comes from the way we were raised. Each of us has grown up with our own experience in life, our own traumas and history, and how we were raised, how we grew up, the events that shaped us. And a lot of times what I find from speaking with investors, speaking with people, is a lot of folks may have some limiting beliefs around money. And so I'm always a big advocate for really breaking that down, taking a look at what that is. And we all have the power to change. We have the power to set the new direction, a new focus. Just like if you're in a sailboat and you want to steer that rudder, steer the sail, get going in a different direction, we all get to decide. We are humans. We have the gift of dominion over our lives, over what we do. And so let's use that. Let's utilize that by getting educated, learning some different strategies and concepts, and then applying those. And that's really the recipe for changing a mindset around money, especially anyone that may have grown up with limiting beliefs around money.
Right. What if, I mean, and I think that is the perfect starting point, really, like you said, with anything in life, is how do we address certain situations head on? And I've done my own work around money, and, being an athlete, we kind of have to do mindful motivation around so many skill sets, just to show up to the gym or keep competing or whatever it is. Money's no different. However, there was a lot of times before I sat down and understood what was going on, I didn't even realize that I had a limiting belief situation going on. What did you think? What are some good first steps if you're like, well, man, I don't even really know about my attitude around money, or how I feel like this is the first time really sitting down, like maybe it is my own belief system that's keeping me back from being that multimillionaire or whatever it is. And what's like a step one to figure out what your limiting beliefs are?
Well, couple things, Kristen. Really, I would say the big areas to look at is, do you have, and if you think about this question, do you feel that you have a mindset of scarcity around money or abundance, right? Do you feel like there is a limited amount of money in the world and that's it? Or do you feel like there's an abundant amount of money, of resources, of energy available to everyone?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so that's the thing. Sometimes people feel there's also a worthiness notion that comes into play, where someone may feel like, hey, I'm not worthy of handling money. I don't know what to do with it. And if they get a lot of money, maybe they might not make the best decisions, and quickly they no longer have the money anymore because of poor decisions that were made. And so sometimes it comes from a feeling of worthiness or lack of worthiness. And what I always say is, we all have capabilities, capacities, and there are a limitless amount of opportunities available to everyone, all kinds of opportunities. And what it takes is setting the intention and then putting a plan in place to do that. And so that's really where I would start, is always look at where your level of worthiness is, and how do you feel about that. There's nothing wrong with wanting to make money and do positive things with it, because it allows you to have choices and options in life. It allows you to give to others, to support other people in a way that you see fit, right? All of these great things allows you to create and invent things, create a business, create an impact to others. And so when we hear statements like money is the root of all evil, or negative things about greed, well, think about the good that you can do in the world and the impact that you can make if you have economic resources available to you.
Absolutely. Well, and the other side of this, which I love that our young people see early, is they want a side hustle. They want some sort of freedom to not be, have those golden handcuffs or have high overhead with their house or whatever. They want to ask questions about their money early so they have financial freedom. It's
Yeah.
not even a question of so much of how much money do I have. It's, do I have the freedom to live my life the way I want to live and not be chained to this job because I have high overhead or whatever it is. They really value their time and space versus, the Escalade with the rims, which I think was our generation, and, the big houses and stuff. It's a different conversation. So it's really a mental health conversation, being able to be financially free versus being tied to something and always trying to catch up and get from behind.
I love that you brought that up, Kristen. Think about this when we think about freedom, right? Imagine this. What if you had you have a successful side business, or maybe you're having other income coming in from investments, not from your work. And what would that allow you? What would that provide for you? Imagine if you wanted to take extended time off from work. Maybe you have a birth of a child coming into your family. Maybe you have someone in your family close to you becomes very sick and you have to care for them. And what if you weren't so dependent on the paycheck from your job that you could say, hey, I need to take 3 months off or 6 months off to go handle this in my personal life, to be there for someone close to you, and being able to have the ability to do that, right? That's where I think is really critical, because we never know when life situations come up
Right.
or opportunities come up. And so we can choose, we can decide, hey, I want to take an extended amount of time off so that I can go divert my attention, my resources to this thing that's important to me. And
Right.
so being able to have that flexibility, now it comes down to, wow, I'm able to make a decision. I have options and I have choices that are all available to me. And so I can think about what is it that's most important for me right now and do that, and do it in a way that is responsible and that feels good.
Yes. And you've got some leverage there. If your job doesn't want to work with you or something like that, then you have the ability to walk away. And I think just having that freedom within your mind is such a mental health relief. And we know life is life. Things are going to happen, and we have to have some sort of security blanket. So I love that you bring up the mindset of abundance. In my mind, is so huge. As a responsible adult with their money, as an athlete, as a parent, you really have to have this idea that there's abundance out there. We're really not competing with one another. And on the flip side, you have to be worthy of that abundance.
Yeah.
And that can be a larger conversation, but the bottom line is everybody is worthy of anything you want. And just a practice that I like to do every year with a friend is write down a letter of all of my goals and my wants. And I don't get wrapped up in the how. If it's, a new house or financial freedom or a green Lamborghini or whatever it might be, I'm usually pretty practical with it. I have big dreams and big goals, and I put it on the paper and I let it be. And I don't necessarily get wrapped up into the wow or in the how. I just let it be there, and then have it out there, have my, you got to show up, you got to do the work, you got to plan what you can plan, but just being open and knowing that there's mindset of abundance and knowing that you're worthy. And then you just let God, universe, Madonna kind of do the magic. Do you have any good practices you do?
No, I do, but I love that, writing out your goals and then not worrying about the how.
Right.
Um, think about this. I'm going to give you this imagery. Imagine if you were climbing up the side of a mountain, okay, and you're up so high that you're in the clouds and the fog, and your visibility becomes very, you can't see more than as far as you put your hand out in front of your face. Now you know where you're going, and so you can see immediately the 6 inches in front of you, and so you keep going, but you don't need to see the final destination or the whole way. You know how to get there and how to continue going. And so that's the same thing. It's like, the goal, you know where you're going, and you don't need to have every single little point mapped out for you, you leave that to your skills, your planning, your habits, all of that. It has a way of taking care of itself. And so the guidance you need along the way, it will come, but you don't need to get so worried about, oh, I don't know every single detail, single step of the way. And for some people, they can easily get into analysis paralysis and then stop, which is the worst thing you can do.
Right.
And so, that's just a little analogy. It's just like when a pilot is flying a plane through bad weather, they know the destination that's all been mapped out ahead of time on their course. They can fly in very low visibility scenarios. The plane will get to its destination because the pilot's relying on his skills, his guidance, the navigation systems in the airplane, all of that working together. And the job of the pilot is to remain calm, to rely on his skills and training, and follow the plan. And it's the same thing that we can do in our own lives.
I love it. That's a great analogy. I'll reuse that because it's so true. And there's also, a whole other podcast that we're not in control of that much. Like, you got to show up and do the right things, but you're only in control of so many things. If you can manage the mindset, you can manage the worthiness, and then make financial moves, accordingly. You do got to have faith that, you've done as much work as you can and the path is online.
Yeah, that's it. And believing in yourself, right? All the training, all the skills, all the learning that you've had up until now, like, bet on yourself, have confidence, know that you're making the right decisions, the best decisions you can make, knowing what you know, and move forward with that. Move forward. And if things don't turn out exactly how you thought they might, that's okay.
Yeah.
You're still making progress. Maybe you had some setbacks. Maybe you've made some mistakes. That's okay. Just take a moment to observe, see where you can do better, and then keep pushing forward.
There you go. And spoiler alert for anyone young, I'm just going to tell you right now, it's not going to turn out the way you think. It's going to be different and probably better. If you have, there's always ups and downs and, pitfalls on things, and then highs and lows. And, if you keep showing up, you do, sometimes, your dreams are big, but the plan can be working when you're not. And it leads you to something even larger. That could potentially even be better. So you got to go with it. On that note, I do want you to talk about this because you're so good at it. Time management and efficiency building. This is something as multitaskers, as entrepreneurs, the to-do list is never done. And then financial resource plays in, obviously one upside about having budget after you've done the work or what have you is you can outsource some pieces and make things a little bit more scalable, XYZ. But tell us about your, tips and trade and tricks around time management and efficiency building.
Yeah, I love this topic, and it's something I work on every day. I'm a student of time, student of my calendar, of my planning every day. So what I love to do is every morning I plan out my day. That's one of the first things I do. And so I'll think about what are my top goals, and I'll write those down and then plan out my day. And so I want to make sure that every day I am time blocking some amount of time to each of my goals so that there's gradual, consistent motion towards that. I find that if I don't plan my day out, it becomes chaos, or the end of the day comes and I look back and say, I didn't get anything done today, because you get sidetracked, you get sucked into this or that. It's so easy to happen. It's called the scientific term entropy, right? All systems tend to go to a state of chaos on their own if left on their own. And so come out with a plan from the beginning. Before I start doing anything, I just do basic time blocking, 1 hour or 30-minute chunks. And if it's something big, I'll string a few blocks together. And that keeps me moving on track, keeps me organized. And each day I redo this so that adjustments can be made as needed. and it helps. It really helps. And then at the end of the week, you can look back and say, wow, I'm really making progress towards this goal or that goal, or any of the things that we want to achieve. And so, in summary, always start out with a plan each day.
I love that. Well, and it really goes back to that mindset. I think in our society and probably our generation too, it gets a lot to the X's and the O's, and we didn't really grow up talking a lot about the power of our thoughts or what we think. You just think you can write down things or go in a certain way, kind of check the boxes that you think you're supposed to check, but not really check in with your beliefs and your own points of accountability. And that mindset plays in here as well, as then you get at the end of the day and you're like, God, I didn't do anything because you didn't have the plan, or you didn't. And it's like that messes with your mindset as well. And then you kind of feel like,
It does.
yeah, I think this is one of the things that served me as an athlete, because I trained harder because I never thought I did enough. And then it led to, burnout and injury and some other things. So it's that mindset comes back into the conversation of consciously acknowledging all the things you did. And that plan can show you exactly what you did actually do.
Yeah, and writing it down is so important. People love all the electronic technologies and things. I love using a plain book and a pen, because here's why. When you type it, you use a certain percentage of your brain, your nerve endings in the movements for typing. Great. But when you take a pen and write in a book, you engage so much more of your senses, the neural pathways in your hand going back to your brain. And so it exercises a whole different part of your physiology. And there's a huge value in that. And so I like it. For me, I like just writing in a book and a pen. And the best thing is, at the end of the week, I can flip through it and go back and audit myself about my time. How am I doing? Do I want to make any changes or adjustments? And so it's a great exercise and a way to do some self accountability as well.
I love it. And it's also a great excuse to get off the screens, get off the technology, get out, let your eyes and your brain. There is a whole neuro conversation there about actually using a pencil or a pen and a paper and getting your brain and your motor skills in check. Like there's a longevity conversation there. But that's great. So, so we've got our mindset in check. We've got our worthiness in check. We've got some management around time and efficiency. What if we are new investors, being an investing pro? What are some first questions that you should be asking as a potential new investor? And then what are some first steps we should take to be a newbie investor?
Yeah, great questions. I love this. So especially, this applies for everyone, but especially for young people, always be aware of debt. How do you use debt? And know the difference between good debt and bad debt. Good debt is debt that you use to buy an asset that generates income for you. Bad debt is things like consumer debt, credit card debt, money you spent on doodads and things that accumulate in your closet, in your garage, right?
Right.
So be mindful. If you have debt, sometimes, yeah, it happens. So focus on paying that down. Come up with a plan to chip away at it month after month. Get that paid off. I always like to say debt, that's consumer debt, credit card debt, is usually the one you want to tackle first. Now, going beyond that, on the investing side, it's all about, just as a general thought, save money, right? Put a certain amount each month that you can save, but then once that accumulates, you want to invest that. Don't just have it sitting in a bank account. Invest it. There's so many strategies. I love investing in real estate. I think it's super powerful for some people that are just starting out. Maybe you're younger and you're not at that point yet. You can still do some investing, open a retirement account. Maybe your employer offers a retirement account, 401k. Make sure you're participating in that, at least to the extent that there's matching employer matching. Take advantage of that, because that's money that's being given to you. It's free money. Whatever you put in, it could be matched, maybe double or some other percentage. So that's fabulous. And it's all automated, so you don't have to think about it. It's going to get deducted from your check, your paycheck, and it's on autopilot, which makes it really successful. And then when you move on, you're no longer at that company. You take that money with you. That's still yours. And so it's out of sight, out of mind while you're working there. But then afterwards, that's still yours. So you move it, you take it with you, and um, always look to take advantage of those opportunities that are employee benefits. Now, going beyond that, maybe you want to do something like dollar cost averaging, where you're putting a small amount. Maybe it's $50 a month or $100 a month. Maybe you open a Roth IRA account and you're contributing to that. It's a powerful strategy. It allows for tax-free growth, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Simply said, it's amazing when you have tax-free opportunities. And so those are strategies that you don't need to have a lot of money. It can be as little as you can work with, but the consistency and doing it over time, that's what makes it powerful. There's compounding that happens. Just like when we go and exercise and train at the gym, from day to day, you're not going to see results. It's only that compounding effect after 6 months, after a year, and then you look back and see, hey, where did I come from? Now you see amazing growth over the long term. And it's the same thing with investing.
Absolutely. Did you start how young were you when you started investing?
When I started investing, I was in my 20s.
Okay. How did you
Yeah.
introduced to it? Because I'm always curious on how people, like, usually it's in the family
Yeah.
or a coach or something. It's an interesting conversation how people get introduced to financial literacy in general, but investing in particular.
Well, I got introduced to it when I started working professionally. I graduated college. I was a young engineer starting to work. I was in the tech industry.
Okay.
And so it was during the time of the dot-com boom. And so there was all
Oh,
these startups. I made a lot of money. I lost a lot of money as well, investing in all these different companies. But also I was doing some not so sexy things, like taking a couple $100 a month and putting it in a S&P 500 mutual fund, right? That's not exciting,
right.
but it's slow, steady growth. And I was getting dollar cost averaging. And so that was accumulating over time. And I had it set up on autopilot. I had it to like auto deduct from my account, so I wouldn't even have to think about it, which was pretty cool. A number of years later, I started learning about real estate investing, and there was definitely people around me that were doing well with it. One of them, I'll share a little story. My landlord in college that that I was renting from, I saw that I got to know him over a couple of years that I was renting from him, and I saw that he had all these apartments rented to students, and uh, he must have been worth millions, and you would never know it by looking at him or talking to him, because he was average salt of the earth kind of guy, really down to earth. He worked as um, a service mechanic, working on restaurant equipment. He drove around in a work van. Like, that's what he did. He worked with his hands. You shake his hands and you could feel like the years of manual work right
Yeah.
in his calloused hands. But you would never know he was worth millions, because he would owned all these properties and rented them out, and they were in good areas and did really well. And so that was something that really inspired me. Said, I want to learn how to do this, because it's something that's available to anyone. And here's something a lot of people don't know about is our government, the US government, incentivizes activities to all citizens. And they incentivize this through the tax code. And that is to own rental real estate. And the other one is to own small business.
Mhm.
It's incentivized through the tax code. You get all these deductions and tax benefits. And so for all of us, this is available to anyone. And so if it's of interest to you, learn about real estate investing and learn about owning a small business. Even if you're working as a professional in a traditional job, you could still have a side business and benefit from the tax benefits there, which can be really powerful. So I always encourage everyone, look at that, consider it, and see if there's a way that you can incorporate it into your life.
I love it. I tell everyone, I'm like, if especially if you have a bigger corporate job or you get bonuses, you got to have that LLC, because taxes at the end of the year are gonna whoop on you. And there's plenty of things that are, and it's not even like shading the system or anything like that. Working at home as a home office, like it's stuff you're doing anyways that you need to just put your ducks in a row that can alleviate some of the stuff you got to pay. So I'm completely with
Yeah. And it's right. This is all right in the tax code. It's not
you.
any
Right,
kind of a
right.
loophole or anything. It's available to anyone. And it seems like the people that get upset about it are the ones that never bother to learn about how to do it. But
Exactly.
you do, it's on you to learn, to take initiative and put in the work.
Absolutely. Do you have any good resources? Like I always, when people ask me about LLCs, it's been a minute since I've done the last few of them. But I always say, go to your like Colorado .gov.biz or some version of that. Like, is there any good resources that you recommend for
Yeah,
small business owners or people that want to even know about investing in general?
absolutely. So for business formation, business owners, I always recommend check out an organization called SCORE. It's you can find it at score.org, and it's a national organization, all volunteer, all about business, small businesses. And so they provide guidance, coaching, resources. They have training seminars right in your local area, and it's all focused on education for people that want to start a small business. And a lot of the volunteers, they're retired professionals, retired business owners that want to give back to the community. And so it's a great resource to look at when you're starting out. They'll get you lined up with a coach at no cost. It'll be someone that's familiar with the industry or the type of work you're doing in your business. And it's fabulous. And they always offer training and events that you can attend at either low cost or no cost at all. Now, when it comes to investing, that's a whole nother realm. There's so many different types of investing. And what I'll say is find people that have experience, that are good at it, and learn from them. And there's so many ways you can do it, through podcasts, through YouTube videos, training and seminars and events that you can attend. And so find something that's appealing to you. If you're interested in real estate, go to some real estate events. There's probably a local real estate investment organization in your city, in your town, that you can go to a meeting and attend. Because guess who's going to be there? It's a whole bunch of other investors, people that have years and years of experience, as well as newer people. And so that's a great environment to be in. I always say, surround yourself with people that are successful and doing what you want to do, and then you can learn from them.
Absolutely. And that plays right back to the mindset. If you, as a marketing branding professional, we do a lot with key voices and commonly known as influencers. Whatever environment you're in or the 5 people you're around, that's what you're going to become. So I always say,
Yeah.
get around people that are better than you, that are wealthier than you, that are smarter than you, whatever it is, because their mindset will become yours. And
Exactly. Think
yeah,
about that. When you're hanging around with those 5 people, what's going to happen, Kristen? You're going to have opportunities to go attend some great events, right? You're going to go to the events that they're going to. You're going to be reading the books that they read. You're going to be listening to the podcasts and content that they listen to. And so it just gets you in that mode, and all the learning that comes, the relationships that come out of that. When you go to an event, who are all the people that are going to be there that you can meet? How's that going to up level whatever it is you're trying to do, trying to achieve? And so it's really powerful. It's the power of that proximity and positioning yourself around other like-minded individuals. And then, you know what? Here's the best part. Once you've experienced that growth, that success, then the next best thing that you can do is turn around and help out somebody else that's younger, that's just getting started out, and play it forward.
Yep. There you go. Yeah, it is. And if they love money, they talk about it like in loving money and embracing what it is. I think, I mean, it just streamlines your process and, you know, knocking out some of your own limiting beliefs. And then, like you said, just as you know it, the light switches, and then you start, you know, the student becomes the teacher, and you start being that mentor, that inspiration, or that leader for somebody else.
For sure. For sure.
So before we wrap up, I really, since you're so good at the note investing, this has become your niche, and I got to give a shout out to your book, the Little Green Book of Note Investing. We had talked about this years ago. I'm still wrapping my mind around it. I've read the book. Give us like the quick 4-in-1 on note investing and why you're so passionate about this.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So my main investment thesis at this point in my life is buying and building assets, right? Save your money and then reinvesting that. So what is note investing? It's mortgage notes on properties that are residential homes all over the USA, just like the homes that you and I live in. Well, those mortgages all get bought and sold every day on the secondary market. And so for investors, you can invest in mortgage notes and be the one receiving those monthly payments. So it's really a powerful concept. And what I love is you're making an investment. It is an investment that's backed by a tangible asset, real estate. There's a property there. And so that gives you a lot of downside protection. And there's so many ways to get involved in it. You can buy individual mortgage notes. You can invest in a managed fund where someone else that has the expertise and experience is managing that portfolio and running that. And a lot of different ways. But I think it's a really powerful investment, something that I'm really passionate about. And that's why I wrote the book. It's to give an overall introduction to the world of mortgage note investing, how to get started and how to get involved in it.
I love it because I mean, we had this conversation years ago and it's still relevant to this day. And I love these like outside investing opportunities or conversations. And this is the upside of social media and podcasting and the kind of our digital age where you can start to learn these niche specific avenues, arenas, communities, what have you, and really get really great intel from, you know, a book and from, or a podcast or someone that is telling you their exact experience, exactly what to do in a streamlined fashion. You don't need a finance degree. And I really love that for all of our kiddos that maybe don't want to go to college or have a different set of skills, trade school, or maybe just skills from life, that if you start asking questions, get on the internet, start reading books, getting around the right people. And this is available and possible for anybody.
It is.
It really is. Well, so tell us, Fred, I've got always, 100 more questions for you. We talk about your front squat PR. Do you want to give that a shout out?
Yeah, I'll tell you, at a certain point in your life, the frequency of how often PRs happen in physical training, it's happens few and far between, right? And so, yeah, it's exciting, but my goal, Kristen, is when it comes to fitness, my goal is I want to be strong and energetic every day.
Yep.
That's my goal. And so I work out. I was telling you this earlier. At the end of my day, my work day, I kind of shut down and then I head off to the gym to go train. And I've been sitting all day in this chair. I'm on the phone, I'm on the computer. And so I want to get up and be moving, get blood flowing. get oxygen circulating to my brain, right? It's so important. And this is what gives you the energy to be strong mentally and physically, and allows you to live life at a fulfilling level and feel good all the time. And so uh, that's the best part. It's an investment, right? An
Yeah,
investment in your health,
absolutely. That's
which
the whole
is,
combo. Yeah,
yeah, like yeah, we can talk about financial investing, and that's important, but what about investing in your health, eating well,
Mhm.
exercising well, sleeping well, having good habits so that you're strong, and now you can really focus on all the other things. Have you ever heard this saying that um, if you don't make time for your wellness, you'll be forced to make time for your illness,
Absolutely.
right?
100%. 100%.
Yeah,
Yes.
I've seen people in the past that they focus on money and work, and that's all, and they neglect their health. And then by the time they realize they need to make a change, it's almost like it's too late. And then they
Absolutely.
end up spending a lot of money chasing after recuperating that health.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
why not do it all along the way so you can enjoy your life?
absolutely. And you can always make more money or figure it out or, learn or change and make a pivot. Time is finite. You only have so much time that you're working with. And even that, we only control so much. So you got to figure out it's health, wellness, including mental health, and then everything else. If you get that brick in line first, everything else will follow. And that plays right into your mindset of worthiness, your mindset around abundance, your ability to be around great people. Usually at the gym, it's other like minded, mission driven varsity
For
humans.
sure.
So it all kind of plays in, but I think like how you initially brought up the mindfulness on money and our thoughts, it's not always talked about. It's kind of like get to college, get the degree, get money and start investing or start paying for bills or buy a house or and it's not really like, well, how do you feel about this? Like, how do you energetically feel? Like, do you feel well? Can you walk up the stairs? Can you do this? You don't need to go to the CrossFit games. Let's just be well on the daily,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
you know?
Exactly. It's having those good habits that's really going to set you up for success.
Absolutely. Well, I love that. I love that investing in yourself really is number one. And truthfully, that is where that mindset comes from. And it's the thing before everything.
It
Uh,
is.
but Fred, I love the intel and I love like this diversified approach to life where you are investing in all things because it's truly your brand. Where do we find you? Handles? Where can we find the book? Give us all the details.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that, Kristen. My book is available on Amazon. It's called The Little Green Book of Node Investing. And for anyone that would love to connect with me, you can do so by visiting my website, which is fredmoskowitz.com. However, if you prefer a little easier of a spelling, you can go to giftfromfred.com and it'll take you right to my website. Once you're there, you can connect with me. You can request a special report I have about node investing. I'd be happy to email that out to anyone that likes. And yeah, always look forward to connecting with like minded individuals, connecting with investors, and building relationships. That's what it's all about.
There you go. And you want Fred in your corner. He's not only good at what he does, he's passionate about what he does, and he enjoys speaking. And I've of course stayed connected and stayed on top of things via social. So these are one of the humans, like I said, you want to be around because he's out here, he's doing it, and not just working hard, but enjoying the ride and trying to do the right thing.
Yeah, absolutely. This is what helps us to have balance, to really be moving in the direction of our goals and dreams, and enjoying the ride along the way, because that's all encompassing.
Absolutely. Final question that I ask everybody: what is success to you?
Success to me is having choices, being able to make choices and options with how you spend your time, how you spend your money, who are the people you're with, who are the people around you. That is success. And living in wellness, feeling good, enjoying what you do, and being close to the people that you want to be close with.
There you go. I could not agree more. And if you can get that financial situation together, you'll have the freedom to do all those things.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I love that question. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Fred, I appreciate your time and energy. Go check out Fred's book, his website. He's got a plethora of resources. If you're new to investing, new to note investing, anything you want to know, he's got it on his website and a ton of information out there. And if you want him as a speaker or a podcast guest, I highly suggest him. It's his second time on Tumeric and Tequila, so he gets his warm endorsement from us.
Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate your time and energy, and hopefully, we'll be checking in another year or so and continuing the conversation.
Fabulous. Thank you for having me back. It's been wonderful.
Absolutely. Thank you, Fred.
Thank you for joining Tumeric and Tequila with your host, Kristen Olson. Tune in next time, and don't forget to subscribe on Apple, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.